Welcome to Hungary here, a sun-kissed Hungary for round 10 of the GB3 Championship. I'm Jon Jackson with Piers alongside me here, and we are looking forward to 3 more races in the GB3 Championship. It's our second international round in Hungary, obviously a country with an insatiable appetite for motor racing, and we're going to see some fantastic racing from our GB3 drivers here this weekend, Piers.
Oh, it's great to be here in Hungary at the Hungaroring, of course, a staple on the Formula One calendar, another addition to the GB3 Championship where the drivers can get an opportunity to drive at a Formula One circuit, and from what we've been hearing from the drivers, it really suits the GB3 car.
Yeah, so yesterday and on Thursday we had incredible temperatures, around about 38 I think we got up to here. The track temperature somewhere in the mid-50s. Today we've had rain overnight, it's a lot cooler here, there's a bit of a breeze, about mid-20s, and that will affect things because, you know, a lot of the data that these drivers would have got will have been yesterday when it was a lot hotter.
Yeah, of course. I mean, think about it, only 2 rounds ago we were at Silverstone and I had about all of the layers that were available in the near area, gloves on, 4 degrees, and getting tyre temperature was crucial for the drivers. Complete role reversal here. It's all about protecting the tyres, of course, 2 full sets of tyres for each driver that has to do both qualifying and all the 3 races. So making sure that they don't burn through the tyres, overwork them in the early stages is going to be critical to good results this weekend.
Yeah, well, look, we're looking forward to some tasty racing here in Hungary, and if you think that was delicious, let's look at what happened last time out. We were over in Belgium for 3 rounds of Spa-Francorchamps.
Highlights from round 7 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC. It was Team McGlade starting from pole position alongside Jon Bennett on the front row, and an excellent start from our pole sitter down into that first corner. He was able to hang on to the race lead. The best start from the top grouping, though, was that of Noah Ping. He was able to get himself alongside the Road and Motorsports drivers down into the first turn, nearly taking over 3rd position before being fended off by Louis Sharp and eventually Ugo Chukwu as well down the hill. Side by side further behind that would see Will McIntyre and Nikita Johnson going side by side. McIntyre backing out from the move and settling himself for 8th position, thinking of the championship rather than the short-term prize of gaining his way up into 7th position. Meanwhile, Kuharczyk was leading field on the pressure from Bennett. It was the battle between the top 2 in the championship. Ugo Chukwu going around the outside of Louis Sharp, however over-committing for Lecom, going straight on and would have to settle for 4th position, allowing Louis Sharp to pass once more. Flynn Jacks going straight on, going through the Lecom chicane. Meanwhile, there was more drama between the 2 hill speeds a little bit further down the order. Marcus Luzio coming out on top of Kilcarney in the battle for 19th position. Meanwhile, Chris Dittman Racing's cars were fighting a little bit further back down the order between Sebastian Murray and Flynn Jacks. Up towards the front of the field, though, it was a dominant performance. For the second time this season, it was Teammate Kuharczyk coming across the line to take a well-deserved victory ahead of Jon Bennett and Louis Sharp behind, absolutely dominating proceedings in the high-tech Pulse 8 machine. It was Teammate Kuharczyk on top once again. Highlights from round 8 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, and this time it was Jon Bennett starting from pole position with Teammate Kuharczyk starting alongside. Kuharczyk would get a better launch down towards the first corner, but the inside line would be held by Jon Bennett and he would hang on to the race lead in his JHR Developments car. Meanwhile, down the hill, Louis Sharp was looking to go and take over 2nd position and would have to settle for 3rd as he was trying to find any which way past. Meanwhile, behind all of that, there was a big move to the outside as Will McIntyre was trying to get past the Road and Motorsport duo of Ugo Chukwu and, of course, Arthur Rojon. Into the pit lane, Gerard G would come, unfortunately with some more issues in this race, as well as Nikita Johnson retiring from the race, causing the first safety car. Once we got back racing, though, it was Kuharczyk leading after making an excellent move on Jon Bennett. Louis Sharp trying to find a way past, looking down the inside into turn 1, unable to make that move stick. Meanwhile, at the first corner, a battle for 4th position would see Mackenzie Cresswell taken out by contact between himself and Noah Ping. That would cause the final safety car, which would take us to the end of the race, where Kuharczyk would come up towards the line to win for the 2nd time in the Spa weekend and the 3rd time in GB3. Jon Bennett and Louis Sharp coming across the line in 2nd and 3rd, and the top 5 exactly the same as the first race on the Spa weekend. Race down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. It was single file towards the front, but it was behind where everything was getting dramatic as everyone was battling hard over their positions. So they'd worked their way on the 2-kilometre stretch all the way up towards Lecom. A great start from Will McIntyre to move his way up the order to 4th position. Gerard G was the one who was trying to eye up moving forward. Sebastian Murray closing in the slipstream. On the first lap, it did seem as though Hugo Schwarzer would be safe going into Lecom. It was behind where all the big battles were coming, with the charge coming in from Noah Ping trying to sneak his way around the outside of Jared Waberski onto the brakes coming down into Les Combes, which is a move that would work out in favour of the VRD Racing driver. Of course, there was plenty more drama behind all of that as various drivers were trying to figure their way through Les Combes. Meanwhile, up towards the front on the second lap, it was Hugo Schwarzer defending from Sebastian Murray, who was closing in and closing in and closing in as they would begin their climb up the Kemmel Straight towards Les Combes. Gerard Shee was closing his way in, and whilst Sebastian Murray would go one way, Gerard Shee would go the other to make it 3 wide going up towards Les Combes. And with the move, the high-tech Pulsate driver would sneak his way through for the race lead. Will McIntyre knocking at the door to try and gun back through, and the battle for second position would unfortunately end in contact. Sebastian Murray being spun round into the gravel trap and out of the race, requiring a safety car. At this point as well, John Bennett would retire from the race at the very same moment. Meanwhile, the 2 high-tech Pulsate cars would go side by side for the race lead once it was back underway, and it was Will McIntyre sneaking his way through around the outside. Unfortunately, on that safety car restart, there was an issue behind all that, and Josh Erfan would be out of the race along with Sean Rashid. It was Will McIntyre in control then as the timer would start ticking down. Of course, the race being a bit of a difficult challenge for these drivers to work their way through once the safety cars had come out. Gerard Shee was still in second position, but there was a battle behind as Noah Ping was trying to find his way past Louis Sharp. He had a Rodin one side of him, Rodin on the other, as Ugo Chukwu was trying to chuck himself into the mix. And for him, it was Noah Ping dealing with that going into Les Combes as well, side by side with himself, with Ugo Chukwu and with Louis Sharp as well. And it was Ping dropping back down the order ever so slightly, but he was still fighting with the 2 Rodin Motorsports cars. This would take us all the way down to Bruxelles or Rivage, with Ping sending it down the inside, causing contact with the 2 Rodin Motorsports drivers and causing a retirement for the pair of them, meaning 3 of the top 5 would retire from the race in the championship. A big shame as Will McIntyre would cross the line to make it a 1-2 for high-tech Pulsate. McIntyre ahead of Gerard Shee, and of course an excellent podium for Noah Ping, and of course Timek Kuharczyk behind in 4th would take over the championship lead.
Wow, a great weekend last time out for the last 3 rounds of the GB3 Championship, Piers, and a great weekend for the cars we can see in picture now, the high-tech cars who have qualified well today, with Gerard Shee on pole position, with Timek Kuharczyk just a few thousandths of a second behind him.
Yeah, great weekend for them, of course, taking all 3 wins at Spa-Francorchamps. Timek Kuharczyk won race 1 and race 2, and then Will McIntyre winning race 3. So not wanting to be outdone, Gerard Shee's now put it on pole position for both race 1 and race 2, showing just how close all 3 of them are together.
Yeah, we also have the number 11 car of John Bennett as well there. We can see behind the slightly darker grey car starting 3rd, with Will McIntyre, the 3rd high-tech, just behind there, starting 4th today. So, really good qualifying for those guys. And of course, Piers, we've got something new and exciting coming very, very soon, because in the last week or so, it was announced that there's a new GB3 car coming for next season.
Yeah, very exciting news. A bit of a change up. Of course, we've had this few seasons now. It's been a great car, great racing. It's done the championship and the drivers well, but a new beginning moving forward, because of course in motorsport, if you stand still, you get left behind.
Yeah, and we've got some pretty exciting features coming on this car, and a lot of people who will watch the FIA feeder series F3, F2 and F1 will know that those cars have had DRS for a little while. Formula One is certainly making changes themselves in 2026, but when it comes to DRS, that is a new system that's going to be implemented on these new cars for next year. We also have the new front wing, an end-plate assembly, powerful underbody aerodynamics, CFD optimised aero surfaces and rib fairings, drawing inspiration from the current F1 cars. What does that mean, Piers, as a driver?
Well, we're going to see it in a moment on the screen, hopefully, but basically the cars are going to look a lot more like the Formula One cars look like now. A lot of inspiration being taken from the pinnacle of the sport, and the cars are moving forward, not only in terms of design and the way they look, but also in terms of performance as well. There's getting a lot of extra performance in terms of, I think it's 35% extra downforce with very little extra drag. The tyres are getting wider, so mechanical grip as well as aerodynamic grip as well. So the current 8-inch wide front tyres going to 10-inch, the rear tyres going from 10 inches to 12 inches. So with 25% effectively extra mechanical grip, and then an additional 35% aero grip and a boost of 30 horsepower, these cars are going to be properly quick, and it's going to be more physical on the drivers as well, because the cars are quick now, but they're going to get even quicker.
They really are, and we also have a bigger fuel tank as well. That's one of the things there, and also a titanium halo,
yes,
which takes a bit of weight out of the car. We've seen a lot with the F1 cars, and we've actually seen Max Verstappen, the reigning world champion in F1, say that the cars are too heavy. They need to take weight out of those F1 cars, and they weigh a serious amount. Yeah. As a driver and as a team, what is the benefit of having less weight in a car?
Well, less weight means you can go faster. Of course, it makes very little difference in terms of the driver-to-driver parity, because every single car weighs the same. There's a minimum weight limit for both the car and the driver together. But having the titanium halo means that you've got it's lighter weight up top, which means the car rolls less, so it drives better. But also titanium is a much stronger metal as well, so it can absorb more energy and an impact and keep the drivers safer. And then along with this slightly lighter gearbox, which has had a few electronic updates as well, and the more power, it's just the whole car and the whole championship is moving forward, and it's a really exciting time for GB3, and it's something that I think is going to be hopefully take this championship to the next level.
It's the first F3 car as well to comply with the new FIA regional F3 regulations as well, so that's great to see. We'll look forward to seeing that next year in 2025. Hopefully we're going to get Piers in that car as soon as its delivery has been taken, given that you are a driver and you need to experience it if you're going to talk about it. So hopefully we'll see that a little bit later. What we are seeing here is a couple of drivers returning. James Headley is back. He's driving with Rodin this weekend. And also a driver we've not seen since 2022, Javier Segura, the Spaniard. He's back on the grid and I caught up with him yesterday. Javier, we've not seen you since the end of 2022 at Donington Park, so you've had a whole season out, half another year, and we're back here with GB3, and you've brought the weather with you. It must be great to be back in the paddock.
Yeah, I mean, super cool to be back. Again, it's been 2 years since I left the paddock, and I really missed it. So just really grateful to have given the opportunity to be back and racing to this weekend. I think it's also a really good experience because it's a track that hopefully in the future I'm going to race in. So also for track knowledge, it's just a great opportunity that I couldn't miss to come back.
So you're here with Chris Dittman Racing for this round, but just fill us in on what you've been doing since we last saw you on this broadcast.
Well, I've been doing my step up to Europe in the Euro Cup 3, where I completed half a season plus some FRECA races. And this year I'm doing the full championship with MP that I'm actually leading after round 3. So it's been a good start to the year, and hopefully I can carry this momentum into this championship and have a good weekend with Chris's team.
When it comes to being in that great position you're in that championship, what do you think has been the key to that? Has it been something that's changed? Has it just been the level of experience you've got? You've just connected with the car? What could you put it down to?
Well, I think it just all comes down also to the mindset you bring on, the people you surround yourself with. I think this year I have just great people behind me that are putting 100% effort in me, and they're advising me as best as possible. And I'm also in the best shape I've been. I think every year you grow as a driver, you learn things, you take experience from the past ones. So it just come everything quite together this year for me, and it's going good for now,
Yeah, well, I mean, you obviously, as you say, you're here because this track is a track that you want to be racing at for many years to come. You need that experience. What is achievable this weekend? Because it's quite hard to jump into a car that you're familiar with from a couple of years ago, but also a brand new team.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I came back and I didn't expect at all how this car behaved. And, it's been 2 years and it kind of took me a while to adapt. But again, I think for Chris's and everyone, obviously my aim is to do a good weekend, bring some trophies if I can. I know it's going to be tough. I come with no expectations, but obviously as a driver you want to do as best as possible. So I obviously aim for a top 5 would be a good result.
We've got great weather here. Have you got friends and family coming to watch?
Yeah, it was such a last minute thing. I was called on Wednesday that I was doing this race weekend. So actually my dad has come today. So it's just me and my dad here. Just enjoying the weekend and enjoying this beautiful championship also.
It's a great family bonding time. Great to see you back. Best of luck this weekend, Javier.
Yeah, thanks to you guys.
So the Hungaroring then, of course, with all of its difficulty when it comes to overtaking, the best overtaking opportunity is that down into turn 1. We drop down the hill through turn 2 and 3, and then rising back up towards turn 4, where track limits will be seen by race control. Going through 6 and 7, and then through the S's section at 8, 9, 10 and 11, and into the third and final sector at 12. We'll begin this climb back up through 13 and 14, the double hairpin sequence to end the lap. It is a difficult one when it comes to overtakes, but over the 2.7 miles of racetrack, there are plenty of opportunities if you are brave. The 14 turns, most notably down into turn 1, and of course that chicane at 6 and 7. Plenty of undulation around here as well, dropping down to the lowest point coming out of turn 3 before rising back up the hill to 34.7 metres of elevation.
Let's ride on board the Hungaroring circuit with Edward Pearson in his Vortec Motorsport car, dropping downhill towards turn 1, heavy braking zone to one of the slowest corners on the circuit. An overtaking opportunity on the first lap and throughout the race. We get downhill all the way through the first sector. Watch out for track limits on the exit. The AstroTurf doesn't offer much grip. We head over to the right-hand side. Turn number 2, overtaking opportunity on the inside and the outside. Doesn't quite need to make the apex as the corner rolls downhill and off camber. Bring it back slightly to the left-hand side for the flat-out turn number 3. Now, turn number 4 coming up. We now rise uphill, lowest part of the circuit here. Turn number 4, full commitment on the entry. Watch out for track limits on the exit. Massive G-force, massive handful of oversteer for Ed Pearson there. Then turn number 5, the corner that goes on forever and ever. Keeps going right. Again, track limits. Watch out for that on the exit. Now, technical chicane for turns 6 and 7. Nibble the curb on the right and on the left. Use all of the road on the exit. A slower middle sector. We go left once again. Keep it left to open up the right as we've got a bit of a long run towards turn number 11. Turn number 10 coming up, the left-hand kink, completely flat out in the GB3 cars. Then 11, again, another full commitment corner. Just a slight lift through here. Watch out, try and keep the car within the track limits on the exit. Another heavy braking zone, downhill once again, into the final sector. Hit the apex, watch out for track limits. Straight over to the right-hand side, uphill now we roll. Try and nip a late apex for a good run through the second last corner. And then a technical last corner as well. 2 long corners to finish the lap. The tyres can really go away on a hot lap like this with the high track temperatures that we're experiencing this weekend. And that is a lap on board the Hungaroring circuit.
Few minutes away, maybe just a minute away from the start of this race now. The first race of the GB3 Championship here at the Hungaroring in Hungary. Thank you very much for joining us. Of course, you can see all the photos, you can catch up with the live timing and everything if you'd like to have that alongside this on the GB3 Championship social media pages. Other people that qualified well, Patrick Huijsenrode, the Australian driver, he's 7th for this race. Also, Sean Rashid, the American, starting 8th, ahead of Louis Sharp, one of the title contenders, who starts in 9th, and he'll be disappointed with that.
Yeah, Louis Sharp has been up there in every qualifying session this year so far. It's clearly a good season when you're nearly halfway through the season and a 9th place is a bad qualifying. Still well within the top 10, you know, a big grid of drivers. It's still very close. You know, the times between, I think there was less than a second between all the top 10. So, you know, less than a tenth between drivers. Margins are fine. It's a new circuit. The team's still learning it as well. So, you know, maybe just not quite hooking us up, but he'll still be fighting forward. We've seen him overtake a few times this year. Let's see if he can do the same in this one.
Yeah, and we've obviously heard from Gerard there, and you know, starts on pole position with high tech, but he'll know more than anyone what his teammate Timek Kaharczyk can do here. Obviously, a Polish driver. We're quite close to Poland. We have a border with Poland for the first time in the GB3 Championship here in Hungary. So he's got a load of people watching him here, and hello to everyone watching back in Poland. Timek, we know what he can do off the line, but then they've got Jon Bennett starting 3rd, and we know that if Jon Bennett gets a good start into that first corner, you know, he's a guy that's very familiar with these cars. He's been around for 3 seasons now. Yeah,
Jon Bennett, the most experienced driver in the fields, of course. Many top 10s, lots of podiums and a few wins as well. So he'll be gunning to try and be top step at the podium. He said it, made no bones about it. He said, "I want to win the championship this year," and he's going to have to win some races consistently to do that.
Yeah, and then we mentioned before Will McIntyre. We've seen what he can do. He starts 4th. Same car as the front row of the grid there, the high tech. He's going to want to get a good start as well for a bit of bragging rights when you've got, you know, your teammates doing well at high tech. Is there any other driver there that you can see doing well? I think Jared Wilburski's down in 10th, a decent qualifying for him for the elite car.
Yeah, well, you say that, but at the start of qualifying, he was in the first few runs and on the first new tyre run, he was right up there at the top of the field. So I think he'll actually potentially be a little bit disappointed. The elite motorsport cars generally do really well at high-speed flowing circuits, and while the middle sector here is not completely high speed, it's nice and smooth. There's a lot of space. The average speed in the first sector and the last sector is pretty high. So, you know, it's a circuit they should be going well at. And Jared Wilburski, he's moving on in terms of his driving. 2nd year in the championship, changed teams, of course, to elite, and he wants to get more and more top 10s, and he wants to be up at the podium. And hopefully he'll continue to move forward, and maybe we'll see him on the podium more towards the end of the season.
Going back to Patrick Huijsenrode, you know, he's starting 7th today, but I think he's 6th tomorrow in the first race, the 11th round of the championship. When you are a driver and you're coming into a round here and you're in like a solid position, say he makes up a few places, knowing he's also got a good starting position tomorrow, do you think it's the kind of thing that you would want to get a few points under your belt in that first race of the weekend, or are you going to just push the whole way?
The drivers will be pushing pretty much 100% from as soon as the lights go out, but it's an extra bit of confidence when you know you've got another good qualifying or another good starting position for tomorrow's race. The drivers will want to start the weekend clean. They'll want to see how the racing goes here at Hungaroring. Most of the drivers, I would imagine, haven't raced here in real life before. They will have all driven many laps on the simulator, but you kind of have to get a feel for how the racing goes on a circuit like this, and plenty of experience watching Formula 1, Formula 2 and FIA Formula 3, I'm sure, and the top teams and drivers will have been studying that to see how the sort of the tide flows with the cars throughout the first lap, so you can place yourself in the best place. But it's a different thing experiencing it in real life, and everyone will be seeing how it goes in the first race and then potentially pushing on a little bit extra in terms of racecraft in race 2 and 3. Of course, top 12 reverse for race 3.
Yeah, I was going to say also, when we look at the start of the grid, we need to look a little bit further back, and Adi Kulkarni driving with hill speed as the only hill speed driver this time around. And we were just chatting to Max Maserati, who we've had on the coverage quite a lot, and we'll know that Max Maserati, for example, has been coaching him, and he's made up even though he's not at the front, he's still making up huge amounts of time, and he's impacting his wisdom onto Adi. Oh, yep. The race, we can now go to the start of the race, the GB3 Championship. Let's go.
And so it is race time here in GB3 as we get ready for round 10 of the championship. They're on their formation lap now, heading round to the grid. As you've seen there, when having a little chat with Jonathan Piers, it is Gerard Shee on pole position. What an incredible effort from him. Team Kuharczyk, though, championship leader, will start on the front row alongside. It will make it his 5th consecutive front row start in qualifying. He's got a 6th one coming up tomorrow. John Bennett will start from 3rd position, with Will McIntyre starting from 4th. James Headley on his return to the championship inside the top 5 with Mackenzie Cresswell in 6th place. An excellent qualifying session for Patrick Huitzenroder to get himself into 7th position. Sean Rashid was slated to start in 8th position, but has been given a 5-place grid penalty, so he'll be dropping right the way down to 13th position. So it'll be Louis Sharp moving up a position, same with Jared Waberski as well. Of course, an excellent performance from Waberski. Then we'll have Arthur Rojon and Josh Erfen, who'll be starting from 11th position, and Noah Ping, of course, will also be given a 5-place grid penalty. Hugo Schwarzer starting back there as well. Then we'll get to Sean Rashid, Flynn Jacks, Javier Segura on his return, with Sebastian Murray, Adichie Kulkarni, Noah Ping, Nikita Johnson, Ed Pearson, and Colin Queen rounding out the grid. 2 drivers picking up those grid penalties. That was back from Spa, of course. So Noah Ping being given that 5-place grid penalty for that contact with those 2 Road and Motorsports drivers. To be fair, though, people that don't really care about that will be High-Tech Pulsate. They are looking, and listen to this, a 7th consecutive victory in GB3. 7. Absolutely crazy. Team Kuharczyk and Will McIntyre have both taken 3 apiece over the last 6 races, and they are looking to continue this streak, and I think everyone's going to be hard-pressed to beat them. It is a long run down to turn 1. It is the longest run that we've got in 2024. Over 570 metres before we get into the apex of T1. They'll line themselves up and get themselves ready to go. It is Gerard Shee in control with Team Kuharczyk alongside. The lights are about to come on, and race number 10 of the championship is underway. The 2 High-Tech Pulsate drivers switching over which side of the circuit they're running on, racing down towards the first corner. The number 23 on the left-hand side of your screen, that is Gerard Shee. Excellent start, though, from John Bennett, the number 11, looking to try and slot the middle. But the number 22 of Team Kuharczyk trying to sweep around the outside for the race lead. Unable to do so, as you've got the trio of the Elite Motorsports cars, those bright yellow machines, running on the inside of Turn 1. They work their way down the hill now towards Turn 2. Team Kuharczyk and John Bennett going side by side for 2nd position, that 2nd car in shot. But it is an excellent start from Gerard Shee. Look at that as well. I believe that was Louis Sharper trying to squeeze his way into the mix and maybe sneak his way past. In fact, it's actually James Headley, never mind, trying to battle with his good friend John Bennett. It's the yellow highlights for Headley, of course, the ones that's typically being taken by Ugo Ugachukwu, as Headley's trying to work his way back up past Bennett. He's moved up 1 position on the race start. That is, of course, into 4th position from starting in 5th. Excellent starts, though, as we can see some battling in the background. I think that's Mackenzie Cresswell trying to keep the likes at bay, of course, of Louis Sharp and such. Very dicey indeed as they're working their way through. Might have even been Patrick Huitzenroder is straight off the road. That is Arthur Rojon in the black and white Road and Motorsports car with the red highlights. Tough battling between the pair of them. You can see some of the positions gained and lost on the left-hand side of your screen on the tower. And again, Headley being one of those that's gained up towards the top. Well, that's a massive safety descend down the inside of Hugo Schwarzer, though. There could be contact here, as that was Noah Ping for 30th position, the charcoal grey VRD racing car, trying to squeeze his way down the inside of the bright yellow of Hugo Schwarzer. Could not really fully make that move stick, but that was a bold attempt coming down into turn 12. We complete the first lap then, and it is Gerard Shee leading by 1.1 seconds. Timo Kuharczyk in second position, and John Bennett, James Headley and Will McIntyre rounding out the top 5. Let's see what's happening behind, though, as things are getting close. Of course, Piers Pride joining me in the commentary box. We can see some of the great battling that we're getting in here. Absolutely fantastic scenes to see us racing at the Hungaroring.
Yeah, awesome to see the GB3 Championship go around here. A perfect start for Gerard Shee, but we've got fighting down the field. And Lewis, I didn't catch the start, so I'll let you talk through it.
Yeah, indeed. We had plenty of fighting. Let's roll with that one. And again, we're going to see a bit more of this to the outside. Jared Waberski, the blue highlights, trying to get past Patrick Huitzenroder to move his way up the order. I think he might have a drag race up the hill towards turn 4. You've got to be very brave to get around the outside. I think that was Arthur Rojon actually working his way back, holding rather on to 9th position.
Yeah, it's a good fight we've got there. We're not going to make it around the outside of turn 4. It's so fast. The apex is so short that you really need to be ahead by the time you turn in. And Waberski doing the right thing and just slotting in there. So, yeah, good, clean racing. The driver's still figuring out, who's got the pace and the race conditions. We've seen it in qualifying, but, once you're following a lot of other cars and slightly differing track temperatures and air temperatures, can change the balance of speed throughout the field.
Arthur Rojon's having an excellent start, of course. Qualified in 10th position, those worked only up to 9th position. He was running in 8th, just a second there for Rodin Motorsport, but still is running in a very strong spot for the Rodin Motorsports team, and maybe even there's a little bit more ahead of him with the likes of Patrick Huitzenroder and Louis Sharp directly ahead. So maybe there's going to be a little bit more that he can gain. But Gerard Shee at the moment, Piers, is looking dominant.
Yeah, he's looking brilliant. He's romped away at the start of the field. It's a perfect start for him. And, as I mentioned just before the show started with Jonas, he doesn't want to be seen to be the slower of the 3 high-tech drivers. They've all been so quick at every single round and so close. Of course, last time out, Kuharczyk taking 2 first positions and McIntyre taking the reverse grid. Gerard Shee says, I want in on those race wins.
Yeah, indeed. Again, it's pretty impressive to think that it's been 6 consecutive victories for High-Tech Pulsate in the GB3 Championship so far in 2024. The only 2 races they've not won was race 1 and race 2. That was, of course, won by Louis Sharp and, of course, John Bennett in that fantastic wet race at Oldham Park. Since then, it's been all about the silver of High-Tech Pulsate. And like I say, Gerard Shee's chucking his way into the mix. He has won a race in GB3, of course. It was the last race of 2023.
Yeah, he ended the last season on a high and used that momentum when he's, of course, now with High-Tech Pulsate. And High-Tech, we know, are one of the best teams. And he's doing an excellent job. That they've all 3 of those guys, we saw at the media day when I spoke to them, they all get on very well. They've been pushing each other. And I think that's part of the reason that High-Tech Pulsate have been so strong this season. Is they've got 3 drivers that they know that they're all going to be on it every single session, so they're pushing each other on. But from what we can see from the outside, it seems like very healthy competition. We see some of the drivers running ever so slightly wide on the exit of turn 11, and the skid pad or the plank under the car hitting the floor and throwing up some smoke. That'll be something, Lewis, to look out for towards the end of the race, or keep an eye on the warnings as well, because track limits on the exit of turn 4 and the exit of turn 11 have been a bit of a bone of contention for the stewards, certainly in testing. Apparently there was 212 track limit violations in the first practice session this weekend.
Do you know how shocked I am about that?
Little.
Not at all. Yeah, no way, not around here. Turn 4 is always easy to exceed on the exit there. Turn 11 as well, of course, they're very difficult. Bit of a look there coming in from Will McIntyre, who's closing up to the rear end there of James Headley. Great to see him in, well, for one, back in the championship. That's always excellent to see. Also, I don't know, he fits in with the Rodin Motorsport thing as well. I was looking at that. You know me, I like the yellow highlights on that Rodin Motorsports car. Obviously, Uga Chikwu's done a fantastic job. He's inside the top 5 despite not being here for this round of GB3, but I'll say Headley's fitting in quite well.
Yeah, he's doing very well. He's I was chatting to him actually just before this race. We were watching the Porsche Carrera race that was on just a few minutes beforehand, and he was looking very chill in his light shirt that he had on. It's very lovely weather at the moment, a bit of a different to Silverstone a few races ago, but he was saying that he's driven quite a lot of the cars on the GB3 grid now, and he finds it fairly easy to jump between cars and sort of get up to speed pretty quickly, and doing an excellent job this weekend, actually being the highest placed Rodin driver in qualifying, of course, and having moved forward as well in this race up to P4. He's doing an excellent job, while slightly embarrassingly borrowing Louis Sharp's helmet, I hear.
Yeah, indeed. A bit of helmet gate, that's absolutely fine. I mean, Louis Sharp, you got to say, if you're coming into that team and you're the fastest of the team in qualifying, I mean, that shows pretty impressively when Louis Sharp is one of the drivers battling for the championship. Of course, he'll be very frustrated with Sharp about what happened a few weeks ago back in Spa with that retirement. He and Ugo Chukwu being sent out of the race by Noah Ping, and Ping receiving a 5-place grid penalty rather for the race, which obviously has dropped him a little bit further down the order of Noah Ping. Louis Sharp didn't have an ideal qualifying. James Headley obviously inside the top 5, although we'll say his next race will be starting from 12th position. Look at this though for the race lead as we've got 7 laps left to go. Kuharczyk doesn't want to allow Gerard Shee to win this race. He wants one back, thank you very much.
Absolutely, taking a tenth or so in every sector on that last lap did Kuharczyk out of our leader Shee. They're both in the high-tech Pulse 8 cars, in the grey cars. Shee is currently in first position and Kuharczyk in second, the 23 followed by the 22. Kuharczyk applying the pressure strongly. At this stage of the race, Shee will know that potentially Kuharczyk has the pace over him, but he will also know that as long as he doesn't make a mistake, it's going to be very, very difficult for Kuharczyk to get through. And the only place where realistically Kuharczyk could have a look without Shee having a mistake is into turn 1. So Shee, all he needs to do is put consistent sectors together, because they're still gapping Bennett in third place, who we're looking at right now in the number 11 JHR car. They're still gapping them, so they've pretty much got first and second sewn up as long as they don't run into each other. So as long as Shee gets a good exit out of the last corner, it's going to be a 1-2 in this order, barring anything unforeseen.
Yeah, I mean, hey, wouldn't even put through a 1-2-3 too far out of the books, because Will McIntyre's not too far behind. And I will say, in that battle for third position between Bennett and Headley, we know they're very good friends. They're Bezzy mates, as the cool kids would say. Let's be honest, on the racetrack, that doesn't matter. James Headley is fighting for his career here, and John Bennett is fighting for a championship. So all of that is out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. It's friends off circuit. There are no friends on circuit. It's every man for themselves. And Bennett and Headley get on very well off circuit, but yes, they're not going to crash into each other deliberately on circuit, but if there's a gap there, then I'm sure Headley is going to fill it with his car, although it looks like actually at the moment he's the one under slightly more pressure from McIntyre behind. So we just getting in the front of shot there, the cars run through. The gaps between the cars very, very small generally. The only gap inside the top 15 really is the gap to Sharp from Hudson-Roeder 7th to 8th is 2.5 seconds, but every other gap is pretty much within less than a second and a half.
I mean, look, you've got to remember about this. This circuit is a difficult one to overtake on generally. I'm sure it'll be a little bit easier if we come back here in 2025 with that fantastic-looking new Tatuus MSV GB3 025 car with DRS and the likes. That'll be a fantastic car to take around here. But for them to get their first eye-in of the Hungaroring in GB3, like I say, it is a difficult circuit to overtake at. I'm sure as the race goes on, tyres starting to overheat a little bit. There'll be more opportunities for drivers to come through, but it does seem as though gaps are getting close, but no real opportunities around here, not even on that start-finish straight, which is quite long. I think it's about 800 metres from start to finish there. Yeah,
it is a long way for the cars to get in the slipstream, and you'll see every lap the gaps, especially for the lead, closing up as we see McIntyre running wide again to exit turn 11, but the gaps will close down down towards turn 1 with the slipstream, but then potentially open out a little bit in the middle sector with lots of lefts and rights switching back. And when you're following a car closely in one of these GB3 cars, or any single-seater to be fair, you just lose a bit of clean air over the front wing more than the rest of the car, and that means that you just lack a little bit of front grip, and you get a small amount of understeer, which means you can't brake quite as late, you can't carry as much minimum speed, and that hurts your exit as well. So the gaps will ebb and flow, but the reason that there's not a huge amount of overtaking, Lewis, is because all of these drivers are so evenly matched. And I mean, in qualifying, the times were, it was less than a second for the top 10. I think it was about a second down to about 15th. I haven't got the qualifying results as they were finished for race 1 in front of me right now, but it was so close in every practice session as well. And when the drivers are driving at such a high level, the times are so close. There's so little mistakes because the level of the drivers in this series has just gone up and up. I mean, we look at drivers James Headley, for example. He did a guest round at Monaco in Formula 3 after a driver was taken ill, and did, by all accounts, very well. And also, we've had some graduates doing very well in F3 and other championships recently as well.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Alex Dunn picking up a podium earlier on in the day with a fantastic performance. Not quite the victory, but still looking very strong. Obviously, we do keep an eye on these the drivers that have taken part in GB3 that moved their way through the ranks and through the ladder elsewhere to the world of motorsport, because there's so much potential and so much talent on this grid, and we're seeing that time again as we'll race our way round. Gerard Shee, of course, remains as the race leader with Kuharczyk in behind. Very tight margins between the pair of them. Obviously, they were separated by 6 thousandths of a second in qualifying, so we're not surprised they're not separated by very much in the race. Kuharczyk, though, is looking for his 4th victory of 2024. I think he's definitely going to be looking for something to get past Gerard Shee. He's not going to settle for second.
Absolutely not, but it's been such a strong season for all the high-tech Pole State drivers, but especially Timek Kuharczyk. I mean, normally 5 race wins over a season puts you well within a title hunt, and we're pretty much halfway, and Kuharczyk's already got 4. So, yeah, if he can continue with that run, then he's going to be hard to beat this season. But he's got 2 very quick teammates pushing him. He's got drivers that are down the grid also pushing on, John Bennett being one of them, the driver we're looking at, the number 11, and also Louis Sharp, who's been there or thereabouts in pretty much every race this season. Oh, a small lock-up from our leader, Gerard Shee, going into turn 2. That's the first sign of a mistake we've seen from the front drivers.
Yeah, but let's be honest, turn 3 is quite, sorry, turn 2 rather, however you want to call it, is quite a difficult corner to kind of get around as you're dropping down the hill. The front left is kind of becoming slightly unweighted as you're turning into that corner. So I guess you shouldn't be too surprised by a front left lockup. And because of that, I'm assuming it probably wouldn't do that much damage to the tyre? You're
correct, Lewis. I mean, I unfortunately haven't had the pleasure of driving a GB3 car around Budapest, but I have driven it on the sim quite a lot, and we've seen it in Formula 1 over the years that because of the way the profile of turn 2, it's continually downhill, it's off camber. You actually are a bit quicker in a high downforce car like a GB3 car or Formula 3, Formula 2, Formula 1. A bit quicker not to make the apex. You kind of carry a bit more speed. Oh, very wide goes. Is that Bennett? Yeah, that was Bennett going very wide on the exit of turn 11. But I'll continue my train of thought, which was the turn 2, you can run wide, and as you say, it was unloaded on the inside because it's so off camber. That small lockup won't have done a huge amount of damage, but still not ideal, and definitely shows that Shee is not completely comfortable at the front of this field, because that is a small mistake, albeit not too costly.
Looking at Will McIntyre here in the number 21, of course, came into this round second in the championship. Well, I've done some quick maths. I do always say never trust a commentator's maths, but I've picked up on some cheeky numbers here. And I will tell you, if things finish as they are presently running in this race, which I think there's a little bit of room for movement when it comes to positions, obviously with 3 laps left to go here at the Hungaroring in the first race out here. If things do finish as they stand, it was a 9-point lead for Timek Kuharczyk over Will McIntyre. It'll be extended by 10 points. So it'll be up to 19 points for Timek Kuharczyk, who'll have 27 over Louis Sharp and 40 over John Bennett. That is pretty ominous as Kuharczyk is looking to dominate this first part of the season. But of course, after this, there's still 14 races left to go.
Yeah, we're not anywhere near halfway yet. This being round 10 of the series season so far, it's far too soon to call any championship predictions. I reckon I wouldn't be placing a bet yet, because we've got a lot of different circuits coming up as well. Of course, we don't look too far ahead. We've still got 2 races coming up this weekend at the Hungaroring, but next out Zandvoort. Then, of course, we head back to the UK for the remaining rounds of the season, and some very different circuits. These GB3 cars ending the season at Brands Hatch Grand Prix, completely different kettle of fish to, for example, this circuit we're looking at right now.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the circuits which really do bite. I think also those drivers, we'll talk about drivers that have raced at Zandvoort, obviously, in this season. We did race it last year when we go there in a few weeks' time. The experience they'll be taking from that, I think it doesn't really matter, because it's such different conditions as to when we were racing at Zandvoort last year to how we're racing, how we're going to be racing it this year, depending on the time of year. And again, you come into somewhere like Hungaroring, it's somewhere we've never ever been in GB3. So all these drivers are getting so quick, so fast, adapting to these new circuits to them. Again, it's what they need to be doing as we head on to the penultimate lap of the race. 7/10 of a gap of a second rather as is the gap for the race lead. It's grown quite a bit, but High-Tech Pulsate are looking to take 7 consecutive victories.
That would be an absolute statement from the High-Tech Pulsate. 7 consecutive victories in a championship that is as close as GB3. I don't think, have we ever seen 7 consecutive victories, Lewis? I don't think we have. Oh, big lockup.
Whoa, that's a big lockup. Was that Javier Segura?
No, Flynn
Jacks. It was not.
Flynn Jackson, the 55, locking up heavily down into the sharp right-hander that starts the final sector and going on straight on, losing a couple of positions, but he, due to the tarmac runoff, he's able to continue on. But this battle at the front, it's not letting up one bit.
No, certainly not. It is remaining quite close. It does seem as though it is going to be a high-tech Pulse 8 victory, but which way round it'll be, we'll have to wait and see. And even then, contact between teammates, it's happened before. As to your question, I cannot. I've gone through the stats. I cannot find the last time where a single team won more than 6 races on the bounce. I don't even think it's even got close to that. Also, because obviously reverse grid races and all that as well, chuck things into the mix. Yeah. Also, Timo Kuharczyk in the next race will be starting from a qualified position, his 6th consecutive front row start, which I also cannot find the last time a driver did that. Joel Granford's had 5 in 22, but I think we are seeing a very unprecedented level of dominance from a team here in GB3 right now.
Yeah, potentially helped by the fact that High-Tech Pulse 8, they seem like whenever they travel out of the UK in the GB3 Championship, they're almost untouchable. Actually, we see Gerard Shee looking in his mirrors. Visually, it looks like the gap at the front of the field a little closer than potentially it has been previously. But whenever we go abroad, Spa, Zandvoort last year, Silverstone, I suppose, is a Grand Prix circuit as well. The High-Tech Pulse 8 car just looks on absolute rails, and they almost always within the top 3 positions, if not on pole, and taking race wins, and clearly using their experience in other championships to best effect in the Hungaroring, which the GB3 cars have never raced at before. That doesn't mean that teams may not have ventured out here for test days. We can't say exactly because, of course, private testing is available in the GB3 Championship, which is one of the big draws to a certain extent, because drivers can get a lot of seat time and really learn how to get the most out of a single-seater car on their way up the ladder, because pretty much every championship beyond GB3, if you're going to F3, that testing is very, very limited.
Yeah, certainly so. Well, from this point on the lap, Piers, there's not many overtaking opportunities. You've got, what, 10, 12, and that's really it. I think Gerard Shee could be looking at his 2nd victory here.
Yeah, the gap's opened out. I think Timo Kuharczyk has backed off ever so slightly in the middle sector of this lap. You can see the gap opening out slightly, although Bennett's still not hugely far away, so he can't back off too much. But no, it's been an excellent race. We've only seen one minor error from Gerard Shee at the front of the field, but a dominant victory, which will almost certainly be for Gerard Shee, and also another for High-Tech Pulse 8. What a dominant performance from the both of them.
Yeah, it's been 11 laps of perfection from High-Tech Pulse 8 as they work their way through the penultimate corner. It was a 1-2 in the previous race of the championship for them as Will McIntyre came across the line ahead of Gerard Shee. It's going to be a 1-2 once again as Gerard Shee will come out of the final corner, and it is 7 consecutive victories for High-Tech Pulse 8 in GB3. Kuharczyk across the line in 2nd place to extend his championship lead, and John Bennett will make his way onto the podium for the 5th time in 2020. Absolutely incredible, but what a race it was from Gerard Shee. Of course, he won the very last race of last season, and he's had a very up and down 2024 thus far, with some major dramas. Of course, didn't actually run too well at the previous round at Spa, despite getting that podium in the final race, of retirements and issues in the first 2 races. He still sits, or was rather coming into this race, sitting 2nd in the champion, or 5th. I can get my numbers out. He was sitting 7th in the championship, not 2nd. 7th in the championship with Gerard Shee, and he's been able to piece himself together a victory this round. And of course, do remember tomorrow morning in the race, he'll be starting from pole position once again. So things could be going from good to even better for Gerard Shee as he looks to throw his hat into the ring as a strong High-Tech Pulse 8 driver. For them, though, it has been a solid performance. Here are the provisional results, though, from round number 10 of the championship. Gerard Shee ahead of Timo Kuharczyk, John Bennett in 3rd position with James Headley and Will McIntyre rounding out the top 5. Mackenzie Cresswell, Louis Sharp, Patrick Hoytenrode, a great effort from him as well on a round where he's showing some great pace. Arthur Ocean and Jared Oberski will round out the top 10 with Josh Irvin, Hugo Schwartz and Noah Ping, Colin Queen. Now that is impressive. I'll go into that in a moment. In 14th position ahead of Sean Rashid, of course, in 15th position. And of course, those positions behind all of this, as we'll flick through them, we'll see Nikita Johnson, then Sebastian Murray, Javier Segura on his return to the championship, Adichie Kulkarni, Ed Pearson and Flynn Jacks, of course. The reason I suggested that was very impressive from Colin Queen is, according to my little spreadsheet here, he started from last. So that is a wild drive from him to have worked his way up the order. Very, very impressive indeed. Just picking his way through car by car. You've got to say, they do like a bit of a big juicy Colin, and he's been proving it in this race. Very impressive performance. I don't see any way anyone can really beat High-Tech Pulse 8 at the moment. The fact they keep putting in these races, the fact that they keep putting in these performances, and the fact they've got 3 drivers that can win races, right? That's the important bit. Going into the race later on, or tomorrow morning, they're starting 1 and 2 again. It is Gerard Sheet ahead of Timek Kuharczyk once again. And in that race, it's even better for them because they're not starting first and second. They're starting first, second, and third. Will McIntyre will be starting that race from 3rd position. So there is a lot for them to gain in that one as they'll work their way down into Parc Fermé. Of course, round of applause for Gerard Chi, who will take his first victory in High-Tech Pulse 8 colours. So his second team he's taken victory for. Of course, the Hill Speed team last year were really like the junior programme in a sense for High-Tech Pulse 8. And Gerard Chi is showing that one brilliantly as he'll climb out of the car on the top step of the podium. We said before it's round 10 of the championship, which has been completed here. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen with the 3rd race from Silverstone, so whether that's going to be rerun or how we're going to play that one. But right now, it's just showing an excellent performance as we end the first 10 races of 2024 and seeing that strong performance from High-Tech Pulse 8. Again, it'll be an extended championship lead. We'll update you with the points in a mo, don't worry. An extended championship lead, though, for Timek Kuharczyk, which we know the Polish fans will absolutely love to see, up now to 19 points then over, of course, the likes of Will McIntyre. We'll head down, though, to catch up with our top 3 in the race and see how things are feeling after the first ever race in GB3 at the Hungaroring.
Yeah, Gerard Shea there, just celebrating with the rest of the High-Tech Pulse 8 team. Another great result from them. We've heard in the commentary from Lewis and from Piers just what they've achieved. Some serious records going on there. I really appreciate Lewis managing to find that information whilst also commentating on a race. That's some pretty impressive going. We will grab a word with all of the drivers in just a second. I've heard John Bennett's dad, who's here celebrating with the team there, saying that'll do, just enough. So he's very happy there. We can see John Bennett there in the grey overalls, just chatting to his team there. Mike Epps, driver coach, in the black polo shirt there. We can see obviously they'll be debriefing later on. I think we'll be able to swing round to the left here, cameraman Cam, and we'll speak to Gerard. A sea of photographers here. I told you they were hungry for stuff here, but I wasn't joking. So let's grab a word with our race winner, Gerard. Another podium for you and another great drive from you.
Yeah, finally a win, a non-reverse grid win. So yeah, it feels amazing. Big thanks to the team and everyone who support me, and yeah, really enjoy it.
A great performance in qualifying. Was there any doubt in your mind that you wouldn't be able to just take it home?
Yeah, I mean, we're on pace, probably in qualifying and even on Friday. So yeah, and the main thing just get off the line and then sort of managing the tyres, and I think we did a good job to do that. So yeah, very happy with the win.
Yeah, great run of results for the team as well, and obviously having Timek there alongside you, was there any concern that he would get a better start than you, or did he have it in hand?
Yeah, to be fair, I think I just look forward. I saw him on at first corner, but no, I just focus on myself.
Congratulations, we'll let you continue celebrating with the team. Thank you very much. Let's find the aforementioned Timek Kuharczyk. We're going to spin around literally 180, maybe even more degrees, and speak to Timek, because we know the fans on the live stream in Poland have been going off. I didn't understand anything of what your fans were saying, but it was all very celebratory. Another podium for you, another strong performance.
Yeah, that's correct. Between difficult race, I would say. The pace has been mega. So we're clearly in a hunt for P1. I think if there will be a bit better start by my side, then we could work out something. As you know, I was just driving behind G and just waiting there until he makes any mistake or whatever. But he didn't. He did an amazing race, amazing job in quali as well. And you know, we're so quick. I'm just super grateful to High-Tech GP to give us such a good car. And yeah, 2 more races to go. I think the pace is looking strong, so we'll try to maximize that.
That's 7 race wins in a row now for the team. Can we make it 9 by the end of the weekend? Is that possible?
You know, before Spa, I said it's highly unlikely, but you never know. This is motorsport. Things change super quickly, so we'll see what we can do. I think we surely have probably the best car on the grid, so but as well, it's so hard to overtake there that there has to be some chaos in race 3. But now we need to focus on race 2, bring back the good results again, and we'll see what they can do.
Excellent, congratulations. Get a good night's sleep. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Tim Karchik there, second place driver, and we mentioned John Bennett. He's still chatting with his driver coach, Mike Epps. We'll just walk over here and we'll grab a word with him. We'll tear him away from Mike. What's Mike saying then, John?
Good. Yeah, pretty much that. Drive faster. Yeah, good result, good points. Not the win, but I think the front two just had a bit too much. And then it was just managing the gap to the guys behind.
Given how strong the high-tech Pulse 8 cars have been, it's a good start from qualifying to be able to separate them, because they all looked incredibly strong over all the test sessions. Yeah,
I was feeling a bit outnumbered on the grid with them 1, 2, 4 immediately slotting in the middle. They have been really strong. They're normally strong on these European tracks, but I think we're doing a good job. Spa, we picked up 2 podiums. Now start Hungary with a P3 is good. Just try to keep getting points like this, and see where the season goes.
We saw you run slightly wide a few laps before the end. Was there any concern that your old mate James Headley was going to make a run for that position?
Not really, to be honest. We were close on lap 1, but then after that, just managing the gap. Nice to see him back on the grid, and nice to see him take points away from everyone else in the championship. So that was good.
Yeah, 2 more opportunities to race him and everyone else in this grid. John, congratulations on your 3rd place. We'll let you go and get your trophy.
Cheers. Thanks.
It's John Bennett there with JHR Developments. We can see him celebrating with the rest of his team and his family. As mentioned before, his dad very, very happy, sauntering up the pit lane just now, saying that'll do. So as we see them celebrate, they're going to move up to the podium in just a second, and Lewis McGlade will talk you through that podium.
And again, what an excellent race that was. Just a truly brilliant performance from High-Tech Pulse 8 once again to have taken yet another fantastic victory. 7 on the bounce. Got some stats on that one, which we'll show you in a moment, because of course we'll see them onto the podium. We'll see some highlights as well from the race, which has just been truly magnificent. Great start to proceedings, of course, for our drivers to come over to the Hungaroring for the first time. We'll see them take to the podium before we'll jump to what's happened in the race. Again, so much has done so. Said about 7 consecutive victories. Michael McClure passing on some of the information that the last time 7 consecutive victories happened for one team, it was 2015 when it was the BRDC Formula 4. That was with HHC Motorsports. It was the final 7 races of the championship. It was between Will Palmer and Harrison Newey, who took 7 victories. 1 at Snetterton, 3 at Donington, 3 at Brands Hatch. So thank you for that information. That is an excellent stat. So it has happened before, but as far as we can tell, then 7 is the benchmark that could be broken tomorrow. We'll dig deep into the stats books to find out exactly what the deal is with that, as we'll see John Bennett up onto the 3rd step of the podium. Of course, his 5th podium of 2024, looking very strong. Timo Kihacek onto the podium once again for his 5th podium of the season, and Gerard Shee for back-to-back podiums. He's had some quality results. He's only finished outside of the top 5 once. Let's look at the anthem. It's not always we get to hear the national anthems in GB3. It's a fantastic touch. We had it at Spa, we're having it here as well. Lovely to hear, of course, the national anthem there for Gerard Shee, taking a very well-deserved victory. John Bennett grabbing his podium, of course, Kuharczyk grabbing his podium, and an extended championship lead now out to 19 points over Will McIntyre. Will be starting just 1 position behind him in tomorrow's race. Gerard Shee, of course, with his 2nd victory, but adds to the high-tech Pulse 8 legacy in 2024, meaning that all 3 of their drivers have taken victory, which is always an impressive stat. But the fact that all 3 of them are up there in the top 10 of the championship, they're all battling for the title, because I do think Gerard Shee, if he can piece more races together like that, 100% will be fighting for the championship again. He's on pole position in the next race. Of course, so let's take a look at highlights from the race. Highlights from round 10 of the GB3 Championship, partnered by the BRDC, with Gerard Shee starting from pole position and leading down into the first corner on the 570-metre run down into the braking zone for turn 1. Jon Bennett was trying to find a way past as well, trying to sneak his way into the mix, whilst Team McGlade was trying to go around the outside of his teammate. Will McIntyre sending one down the inside of James Headley into the first corner. They'd all work their way through nicely and cleanly, with Gerard Shee hanging on to the race lead and Team McGlade trying to fend off Jon Bennett on the race down the hill towards turn 2. Bennett to the outside in the number 11 car, a couple of lockups in the background, but nothing too major as it all find and filter their way through without any major drama. Gerard Shee was leading and was dominating, but he was being closed down on by his teammate, Team McGlade, who was just trying to find any pace up to the rear end of him. Flynn Jackson, he took out his teammate Javier Segura onto the brakes down into turn 12 with that lockup of the front right, however was able to rejoin the racetrack without any major dramas. Team McGlade had to settle for second position because Gerard Shee was victorious for the second time in GB3 as he climbed atop his car as the winner here in the Hungaroring. Very, very impressive from Gerard Shee. And again, it will help him move up a little bit in the championship, or at least closer towards the top end, as we'll take a look at the point standings. Kuharczyk, of course, on 212 points. Like I said, 19 points clear of Will McIntyre. Louis Sharp still able to hang on to third position in the championship, with Jon Bennett in fourth. Ugo Chukwu not racing this weekend, so I do expect he will drop down behind Mackenzie Cresswell and Gerard Shee as the weekend unfolds, but he did have quite a big buffer to them, of course, as he goes to race in Freca this weekend. Mackenzie Cresswell, 6th position. Gerard Shee getting those 35 points to move up, hold on to 7th position, but move closer to Mackenzie Cresswell and Ugo Chukwu. Jared Alberski inside the top 10 with Artur Rojon and Hugo Schwarzer. Another decent performance from Hugo Schwarzer there to put in that result to keep him inside the top 10. We'll head down into the paddock where things are probably pretty toasty because Piers is chatting to various drivers.
As collectors, I always do, but these guys on circuit have been working hard. And I popped in the JHR development truck a moment ago and I saw some sweaty bodies, and thankfully you put some t-shirts on and come out to say hello. Let's start with Pat Hoysenroder. Pat, a great result for you, I think. I think you'd be pretty happy with that. P8 was it, I think, on the road in the end?
Yeah, P8 on the road in the end. Got a really good start. Was challenging for P6 and then just got a little bit wide, and then into turn 2, it all switches around, so whoever's on the outside gets inside and whatnot. So bumped down to P8, had a good battle with Arthur. I think that got some pretty good television, I heard, but pretty side by side, which was good. And then got him into turn 1, and then just sat there for the rest of the race. So good track, great, suits the cars, and then popped the visor onto the end, opened at the end to get some aircon. Absolutely, and I bet you're appreciating the win. We'll bring your teammate Josh Irfan in now. Josh, it's P11 for you, I think, on the road in the end there. Josh, of course, your teammate Jon Bennett got the podium in the end, which is a great result. So three pretty strong results for the team.
Yeah, I mean, pace of the team is really good. I didn't maximise quality, which is obviously on me, and it's really hard to overtake around here. Obviously, we don't have DRS or push pass until next year, so it's sort of a bit of a formation towards after the first 2 laps. Good start, didn't really capitalise on it much, but apart from that, yeah, pretty happy. Just get some decent points. And yeah.
Absolutely, and of course your first season in GB3 this season. Of course, your teammate John, it's his 3rd season, so it's good to have him alongside you. But I assume is your goal just to get as many top 10s at this point in the season and push on towards the end of the year?
Yeah, I want to get sorted into that top 5, but yeah, it's about getting the pace, getting a good quality in. I think I was P6 in free practice too, so the pace is there. I just sort of need to, get it.
Well, 2 more races this weekend. We'll see you get on with that. And I think I'm going to pop in my head for the Elite Motorsport team. Good to hear from the JHR guys. We got a 6th place for Mackenzie Cresswell on the road in that one. So we're good to hear from Mackenzie. Again, another sweaty driver. Hard work out there.
Yeah, it's very hot. This track's pretty non-stop in the middle sector especially. So yeah, you really have to work to keep the pace up. And with the temperature as well, it's really tough out there.
Yeah, and of course, being not at the front of quite at the front of the field, you've got also the warm air coming over the cars. And I hear when you guys are sitting on the grid that both the body and the car were getting pretty warm.
It does get very warm. There was a moment where I thought I was going to hit the water temperature warning on the dash, but it was. Thankfully, we got away pretty quickly, so that's okay. But it does get very hot, especially when you're following other cars very closely in a train. But yeah, that's why we train so hard. That's why we do all the workouts that we do to be able to manage this kind of temperature and this kind of workload.
It's a different challenge, I think, this weekend. But we compared to Silverstone 2 rounds ago, it was 4 degrees, and you're all working hard to get tyre temperature. Now it comes for free, right?
It's kind of the opposite, yeah. I mean, you still have to work the tyre pretty hard on the outlap because. One thing that's pretty unique about, or not unique, but one thing that's quite a prominent thing about this track is how dirty it is offline. So you really need to work as hard as possible with the brake to get the core temperature up. Because if you weave too wide, you just get all the marbles and dust. So, yeah, you still have to work them as hard as you can. But yeah, compared to Silverstone, it's nothing. We were you had to rag it there, but yeah, thankfully it's not too bad here.
That dirt offline must be quite tricky when the first lap, when everyone's finding their positions and you're getting pushed offline. Is that sort of play into your tactics?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's very difficult to overtake when there's just one line that you can actually use that's got grip on it. So, sort of after the first lap, it's just making sure you're staying on that line so that nobody can kind of make a move around you. But yeah, as soon as you try and make a move around the outside, for example, it's just, there's no grip and you just go wide. So that definitely plays into your strategy when racing other people, but it's the same for everybody, so you just need to get used to it.
Quick word on tomorrow. We've got another decent starting position for race 2 and then race 3 to reverse top 12. What can you get out of it?
I'm hoping to get a podium tomorrow, starting P4. Second pass this lap was pretty good, so we've got a decent starting position, and some of the people higher up in the championship are a little bit further back, which is good. So there's definitely some big points on offer tomorrow, and I'm going to try and capitalise on it as much as possible. It's, as shown today, overtaking is very tricky, so it's just going to be making the most of whatever comes your way, making sure that you're capitalising on any mistake the driver in front makes, and seeing what happens.
Amazing. Well, Mackenzie, we'll let you go and cool off and get prepared for tomorrow. We've got Colin Queen for Fortec Motorsport. Colin, come on in. Good to see you, Colin. You've got your race suit off. I'm sure that was plenty sweaty.
It definitely was. No, that was a hot and sweaty race, to be sure. To be honest, muscles were a bit tired at the end, but kind of held through from the pressure from Sean. So I think it was a really, really good race. You know, all you have to do is just full send the start, and it works out for you. That's it.
That's it, full send the start. We love to hear it. Colin, it's a very different challenge. We've been hearing from the other drivers. How have you found Hungaroring? Enjoying it?
Oh, I love this track. You know, it's definitely one of my favorites by far. I love challenging circuits. I think we're struggling a bit with pace throughout free practice. The qualifying was absolutely atrocious. What can you do when you're starting last? But we kind of made up for that. A little bit more to go with pace-wise, but I'm sure we'll get there tomorrow. We have a reverse grid race, so I'm sure I'm still starting P20, 21, 22. I forgot which was placed, but all you have to do is keep doing what I'm doing, is full send the start, get those launches right, and then if we can, just make our way up.
Make your way up, indeed. And just for those who didn't quite see, you don't normally start right at the back of the grid. You've had some good qualifyings over the year, but a tricky qualifying. What happened?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we just got it wrong. Just set up right, wrong. Green track. A bit on my end. We're making really good progress throughout free practice. And we thought we would be there today, but it just turned out it wasn't. And it is what it is.
You're still learning a lot. Let's not forget, this is your first season in GB3. You went straight from GB4. Now you're in GB3 racing at the Hungaroring. That's a big step.
It definitely is. And, it's awesome to be here. I'm so grateful for the opportunities I've had over these years. And stepping up from GB4 to GB3. It was a challenge, but. I kind of got into the mix of things and swinging things really, really fast. But I think our pace is well into the top 10. It's just we have not shown it this weekend. But hopefully in these next 2 races we can.
You'll get there, Colin. Thanks for chatting to us. We'll let you cool down.
Before Colin goes, you put up a really nice post for Father's Day, and I can see your dad lingering over there. You were showing photos of you and your dad, your journey in motor racing, Circuit of the Americas, which I like seeing there. You got a lot of love for that, and I think it was good to see the bond between young drivers and their parents, who often give up a lot and certainly have to fork out a lot for drivers to make their way to their goals. Is he going to come and talk to us, do you think, later on? Maybe he'll come and have a little chat with us?
Oh, no, I'll try to convince him, but no, for sure. My dad, I love him to the bottom of my heart. He's done absolutely everything in his heart and in his power to provide for all of my family and myself in this journey. We've had together, and on my end, I'll give it everything I got. It's a marathon for sure. We try to be smart with everything. And to make it this far, it is truly incredible. From humble beginnings to now, and I just can't wait to see what the future holds.
It's one thing racing in the United Kingdom, but racing in Hungary, which is a country not a lot of Americans will visit as tourists, I would say. So to be here doing what you're doing with your dad and sharing those magic moments, I just want to say I think it's great, and hopefully we'll catch you before the next race.
Yeah, for sure. And not only my dad, my mom's here with me too.
Okay, family.
Yeah, family. Sister's back at home. Unfortunately, she's taking care of the dog and stuff. But he's a little rascal. But they've done everything in their power, to help me on this journey, and I'm just so grateful for everything they've done, and it's a pleasure to have them out this weekend, and and I think that race rhythm, come on, I got this.
I think it's a story that's going to be replicated all across the paddock. So yeah, we'll hopefully catch up with your family before the next race, Colin. But congratulations, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Cheers, thank you.
Awesome, Colin Queen there, and we're just going to avoid getting run over by a car, and it's probably quite imminent if we don't move there. But Piers, another solid race in the GB3 Championship, and I heard you saying on commentary there, 7 wins in a row by Haltech Pulsate, not been done for many, many years. Super impressive, and they can make it 8 tomorrow, can't they?
Well, they've got a very good chance with a 1-2 starting position once again. I think if everything goes well at the start and we don't have any teammate clashes like we've seen in F3 this weekend and many times before, then potentially another high-tech 1-2. We'll see. Of course, anything can happen. We've had a lot of intermittent rain showers, thunderstorms this weekend. Even about an hour and a half before the start of the GB3 race, we had a shower that was completely wetted the circuit, and it dried up within a few minutes. So plenty more drama to come this weekend, of course, and then the reverse top 12 race 3.
Yeah, certainly some precipitation on the track there. Check on the GB3 Championship social media for when the races are tomorrow, where you are watching. I'm aware we have a very worldwide audience. There's people watching back home for Colin, certainly Gerard's family as well in China, and all across the world, and Jared as well. We've got to mention South Africa and of course Poland, and back in the UK. Loads of different ways you can get involved with GB3 Championship. You can watch it. Are we doing an impromptu?
We're doing an impromptu. We've got Will McIntyre. Will, we were about to round the show. Quick word, just quickly.
He said he wanted me, so I had to quickly just get changed, get some sweat off me, and then now I'm here.
Well, very quickly, because we do need to end the show, very, very close to the front of the field. Pace was clearly there, but quite hard to overtake around this circuit.
Yeah, literally impossible. Only real overtaking points turn 1, turn 2, and you can't really get I couldn't really get James because of the dirty air in the last sector. But I'd easily had the pace to be up with Timic and Gerard, which was what I was quite happy about, so
Overtake for tomorrow from you then?
That's the plan. Well, starting P3, so fortunately I've got only 2 cars out of me, and the start will be better.
Brilliant. Will, thanks for chatting to us, and we'll see how you get on tomorrow.
Everything I said before, just watch GB3 tomorrow. 2 races, 1 normal one reverse grid race, first 12 reversed. Watch it on the GB3 social media. We'll be back. Hopefully it won't be raining and it'll be nice and sunny. And thanks to Will for jumping in there, ruining our thunder. And thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.